This is the true Atma-vichara, that we start with awareness. We rest as awareness, while all thoughts and emotions simply come and go, rather than start assuming ourselves to be an individual and striving to experience and attain awareness. Hi, I just got in from work and I thought I'd say a little bit about awareness. Awareness is all. There's only awareness. And yet often, when people have been reading non-duality books, watching YouTube or attending meetings, etc., where awareness is talked about, I'm surprised to find that they have concepts about awareness, but they don't recognise it to be their true nature. So, why don't we right now have a taste of relaxing into it? With eyes either open or closed, cease allowing attention to settle on thoughts, i.e., pause thinking for a few moments. That's awareness. So now that you've experienced your true nature as awareness without interruption by thought, what I'd like to suggest to you is to simply rest as awareness whenever it's remembered. All that needs to happen is that attention is relaxed from thinking. You'll notice that you haven't ceased to exist, but there's temporarily no engagement with the thought stories that appear in awareness, and you'll likely find it more peaceful, even from the beginning. The more it happens, the easier it becomes to stop practicing the apparent life of separation. You're already awareness, of course. It's just that now you begin to notice it. Now, I think I can hear the advice of police on the way, because it may well sound as I'm describing a practice here. But in fact, ever since you were born, you have been taught and practiced individuality. And further, on top of that, you've then taken up practices to get rid of that individuality. So resting as awareness is in fact all that can happen that isn't a practice. So I'm simply suggesting that you rest in your everyday awareness. Take a rest from thoughts for a few minutes, or even for 5 minutes if you want to. Half an hour even. Wow, binge out. The longer you do it, the the longer you do it without, you know, kind of getting hung up on it, you'll find that the less likely you are to be drawn, to have attention drawn by the thought stories. Because whenever you engage with the thought stories to try and sort out problems, etc., etc., there'll be suffering. There's no doubt about it. So just relax. Relax as awareness whenever you get the chance. Do it for 10 minutes in the morning if you want, 10 minutes in the evening. As long as you like. All the rest of your life, till you die. Relax as awareness. Now, it's not that there's anything wrong with thoughts, and they're likely to keep arising anyway. But when attention is focused solely on them, then our ordinary, everyday awareness gets completely overlooked. We forget our nature as awareness, and imagine we're a separate individual, struggling and suffering in a world of form. Hi there, I'm in by the fire now. It's got a bit bloody cold out there. This book is the original Knee of Listening by Darfrey John. He was later known as Ardi Dar. And he wrote this book 40 years ago. I probably read it 25 years ago. And in this book he talks precisely about resting as awareness. He talks about the futility of seeking. How attention moves out of awareness and becomes focused on thoughts and activities as remedies for our problems, for our perceived suffering. So, well, you're probably not going to get a copy these days. They reprinted it in a big thick version and it was never the same again, unfortunately. But still, you can get a copy. Lovely book. Highly recommended. The Knee of Listening, written this one 1973 by Darfrey John. Most important thing though is to just keep resting as awareness. Just keep coming back to that. It's the only thing that isn't a practice. The whole of the rest of your life is a practice. And all the stuff that you're up to get rid of the individual, of the sense of individuality, where your sense of suffering lies, that just adds to the suffering. This creates more, adds more on. So, I recommend that you relax as awareness as much as you want to. I've been seeing on the internet that people are recommending this for 2 to 5 seconds, 10 seconds. Yeah, that's great, that's fine. But I think you'll probably find that you might need to do it a little bit longer till you get the hang of it a bit. Take it easy. Just relax. There's nothing to be found and no one here to find it. There's simply you, awareness, appearing as everything, spontaneously manifesting as the world and all of the apparent characters that appear therein. Everything is happening completely of its own accord, and that includes whether the character you're appearing as supposedly decides to rest as awareness or to carry on seeking for enlightenment or liberation. Awareness cannot be liberated from itself, as there's only awareness. Certain changes can happen, which some may choose to call awakening, liberation, or enlightenment, but all of it is happening as a play in awareness, and therefore has no ultimate significance. So take it easy. Give yourself a break. Just keep on relaxing into your true nature as awareness until the flight of attention into thought and all the usual remedial activity of the seeker becomes obsolete. Alright, it's a bit grim outside this morning, so we've come in to have a nice fire. So, remember what we've said about resting as awareness. Ever so easy, because it's your true nature. Just pause thought for a few seconds. That's it. Now I'd like to say a bit here about epiphanies. I meet many people who go to talks, who read the books and all the rest of it, and they're waiting around for something to happen. They're waiting around for enlightenment or liberation. They're waiting to be like walking along the road, and then suddenly all sense of self falls away, or sitting on their sofa one evening and poof, the pseudo self is no more. And I think this is a bit misleading actually, because indeed so, that can happen. But I find a lot more people who simply begin to rest as awareness, whether it's they've realised it themselves through reading books or whatever, or events that have happened in their lives, where they begin to realise that thought is not king. And so they begin to learn, usually gradually, sometimes more rapidly, to turn away from thought, to just draw attention away from thought and to rest as awareness. That gnawing noise is the Avon lady's rabbit eating one of my best pieces of furniture, as usual. Anyway. Oh, here she comes. Here she is. Yeah. Anyway, so all this stuff we hear about having some awakening experience or there's got to be no one there, really, it's completely unnecessary. It's, in a way, it's a side effect. You don't need an energetic shift to be awareness, because Awareness simply is. Awareness is all. This is awareness. The room is awareness. The fire is awareness. This hand is awareness. These words are awareness. What sort of energetic shift is necessary to make that so? So, many people may experience an energetic shift. They may find there's no one there all of a sudden. But I would also like to point out that in resting as awareness, the more you rest, then you'll begin to notice that actually there are no people, there are no me's, there are no someones in awareness anyway. There's only awareness full of pictures, of movement, of apparent people, birds flying around, and all the rest of it. So don't hang around waiting for the disappearance of this pseudo-self, the ego, or whatever you might like to call it. Just rest as awareness. And the rest, all the rest of it you'll notice as a side effect. Initially it may seem that thoughts are an obstacle, but the more you become acquainted with awareness as being your very nature, the more it's seen that there is nothing that's not awareness. There are no obstacles, nothing to attain. Thoughts are great too, simply the play of awareness.